In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use the new text tool inside of Maya, which is pretty easy to use, and it's such a better upgrade to the old tool. And again, you're dealing with a little bit older version of Maya as you're going through tutorials. That's fine. Again, you can still find every tool in the interface. You just have to do a little bit of searching or come up to the top and go to the Help, Find Menu, and you can find any tool you want as long as you know the proper name for it. Anyway, I digress. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to the top and go to Create, and I'm going to go to Type. So this new Type tool automatically is a lot easier to use than the old one. Basically, you can see you're working in polygons when you first start out. If you come over here, you can see the Type tool. You can pick different font types up here along the top, which is pretty nice. And then you can also come in here and type in whatever new geometry or new letters you want to put into it, and it generates it in polygons. So I'm just going to start with something like door. And door could be a nice menu item for the interface you're trying to build for your current tutorial. So what we can do is we can come over to text, and here you can play with the tracking and the keying a little bit and kind of make the gaps between the letters a little bit smaller. So I can go to tracking and bring those letters together, or you can go to kerning scale and kind of play with that too. So if you play with those two options, now those letters don't take up so much space. So if that's something you're looking for, go ahead and play with these two options. Now, again, for our final display of our menu or our word, we want to be in NURBS curves. So what we want to do is we want to go back to Geometry tab over here on the right-hand side. And pretty much the default settings is going to be plenty for us. So all we have to really do is come over here to Create Curves from Type. Click on it, and you can see automatically it generated the curves on the back end. So what I can do is come up to the outliner, select the polygons, and delete it. But as soon as you do that, you kind of lock in the curves. You cannot go back and manipulate them, add more letters, or change the spacing between the letters. So you're in it. But the biggest problem you can see is, so if I come in here and select, one curve, it only moves a part of that curve. So you're thinking this whole letter would be one piece. It's not. It's two separate pieces. If you come up to the outliner and go over to the group here that it created, see each curve is its own separate piece. We want to combine this into one piece right here. And to do that, we need to put all these curves in the same shape node or same transform node. And currently it's not. Each one is got its own separate one. We need to combine that. And there's a special parenting option that allows us to do that. So if I take a look at this curve and I come over to the attribute editor, you can see there's two nodes or two attributes to every piece of geometry by default inside of Maya. There's the transforms node, which allows you to play with the transforms inside of Maya. So right here. So that's just, it's controlling the where that curve is in 3D space. The next one is the shape node. And this shape node helps control how it renders inside of Maya and inside a renderer like Arnold. So you can see the options here. So what we want to do is we want to combine all the transform node and the shape node into one. And so each one is not separately. Its own piece. So to be able to see this and to be able to select them all and all the shape nodes for each one, we have to go to the outliner display and click on this little box that says shapes. Click on that, and that will show the shapes nodes. And you can see now a little plus sign shows up on each curve. So that little group above the curve is the shape node. And then the one in the middle is the transform. So we want to combine all this together. So to do that, we're going to come to the main group that holds everything. I'm just going to rename this to what I want to call it in the outliner. So I'll call it door. Oh, it's being difficult. There we go. And what I'll do is I'll select that group, hold Control, and I'll select every curve. So again, I'm not selecting the group, I'm selecting the curve itself. There you go. And then I'm going to come down to the Mel command and type in this command right here. Parent -r -s. So this basically is the parent command that you type in into the Mel scripting language, and it's going to have different tags associated. It's going to be relative and shape node. So you're going to parent everything to a relative node, which is going to be this first group, and then and it's also going to be attached by the shape nodes. So where you can find this is pretty easy. You can go up to the top and go to My Help. And this is a really useful thing to get to know, is using the My Help, especially if you're rigging or anything in Maya, because you can find the commands that you need, especially if you're doing a lot of scripting. So if you type in parent, it gives you all the help menus that related to the parent command. And you can click on parent command, and here it is. It's just kind of telling you, what the parent command and what flags. So you can type in these different words to do different things. And I definitely recommend that you come in here and start to kind of investigate and learn about what these commands can do. So right now we're using the -r and the -s, so the relative. So we're trying to combine the local transformations and combine the shape nodes into one. So that's why we're using the -r and the -s to do that. And again, to find out that kind of stuff, you're always interested in finding out a Mel command that I might talk about or anything like that, you can always go to the My Help. It's there to help you out. All right, now once we're done, we just have everything selected, come down the Mel, and then we'll type that in. And we'll do, again, -r -s. And we'll just... So what happened there is like giving the last argument must be a group. So I just selected this in the wrong direction. Not that big of a deal. So I'll just select that first shape or that first curve, hold Control, and I'll go up in the other direction. And there you go. And then the last thing I select is the group that I want this all to be connected under. And then I'll come over here and retype that command. Hit enter, and there it is. It combined everything. So if I come back up to the top here and go to display and turn off shapes, it's leaving the groups behind right here, but everything's combined under the first thing. That first group that we made, it's turned into a curve. So what you can do with these empty groups is to select them and delete them. And now you've got one solid piece of geometry that has, basically, you can see it. It's got its own, each curve is connected up here at the top to one transform. Right there. And now you can take this, hold the J key, and rotate that and position it to wherever you need, or hit that D key and change the pivot point to where you need so you can move that around. So that's how you're able to go in there and try to build your own letters and a little bit more control, get the spacing and parent everything under one curve inside the outliner. So you can kind of skip that whole part in the tutorial where I'm kind of changing things around and grouping. Again, that was a little bit of a something that was problematic in the older versions of Maya, and this is a much updated easier way of doing that. So go ahead and keep watching the tutorials. Make sure you are following the correct words that I'm using for the menu, but this is a faster way of building those words out for your custom UI for your rig. All right, talk to you guys later.